This is a gentleman that was born in Spain right at the end of the golden age of Spain. In 1492. Something else happened. What happened in 1492, besides what we are aware of, is the Christians are taking over Spain, and from the Muslims, and they're bringing to an end a long period of time where Jews were living in Spain under Islam, and this is considered to be the golden age of the Jewry of Spain. They were very integrated, they were contributing a lot to the society there. They were not oppressed in any major way, and so it's considered to be the golden age. And this comes to an end when the Christians are capturing Spain, and the Jews of Spain are being given three options: either to convert, to leave, or to die. Many die, many leave, and many convert, and many convert and secretly keep their Judaism. And this is where the Spanish Inquisition is going into action, and we're having these horror stories about tortures. And our guy was born in 1488, so he's 4 years old, so he doesn't get to enjoy this glory period. He's 4 years old when his family has to move out. And where would they go? They would go to the Muslim territories again. It's territories that are still kept by the Muslims, and nowadays, 16th century, is the mostly Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is growing rapidly at this period, and they're controlling vast areas in the northern Africa, around Turkey of today, and also the land of Israel. So his journey starts with moving down to the northern shore or the southern shore of the Mediterranean, to North Africa, all Muslim areas. He travels all the way to Cairo and then to Istanbul. And this is very interesting to note, because we sometimes tend to forget that throughout history, to the most part, Jews were much better off under Islam than they were under Christianity. Not talking only about the Holocaust of the 20th century. Looking back all the way, they were better off under Islam than under Christianity. So they're moving into the Muslim areas, end up at Istanbul, and he's growing to be a very bright rabbi. And at the age of 44, he moves over here. At this period, the Ottomans are encouraging Jews to come to the Holy Land, or to the land of Israel, to develop it. They see the big advantage of bringing in the Jews, to develop commerce, and there's a very famous story of a very rich Jewish lady, a banker of the same time, and she buys from the Ottoman authorities large area around Tiberias, and she wants to build a Jewish state here. We're talking about 16th century, Donna Grazia. Very amazing lady, amazing. She had to convert, and she secretly kept her Judaism, and then somebody told about her. She was able to sneak out. She was very, very rich, and she worked closely with the Ottoman authorities, and she bought large areas in Tiberias, where we sort of spent our days here, and started to build a Jewish state. Can you imagine if this is a sort of cut back in the 16th century, history would have been a bit different. But our guys arriving here to Tzfat, already being a very sort of holy site, and he is engaged in a huge, really monumental project. We know that the Torah was given, according to the Jewish tradition, to Moses on Mount Sinai, and the Torah has everything that, all the baselines. But together with the Torah, there was also the oral Torah that was given, and also the authority for the rabbis, or the scholars, not rabbis back then, but the scholars, to interpret and develop this body of the Torah. So it's a written law, but it had to be implemented. There are changing times, changing circumstances, and every time you have to sort of adopt it or interpret the law that was given some hundreds and sometimes thousands of years ago, to the changing realities and come up with. All this process is being conducted for hundreds of years, and the law is being passed from one generation to the other orally. So I'm sitting, with my people and I'm teaching them, and they see me giving judgments, and they're learning from me, and they'll push it back into the future, right? Generation. In the year 70, the temple is being destroyed. The Jewish people starts to be dispersed all over the world, and there is another revolt. We talked about it at the 132 to 136. There's another big revolt, catastrophic sort of results. Many Jews are being killed. Many Jews are being, again, in many communities throughout the world. And there is a growing danger that each community, since they don't close by anymore, would start to develop its own sort of ways. So at the end of the 2nd century CE, a very important rabbi at the time, the head of the Sanhedrin, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, is sitting here at the heart of the Galilee, and for the first time he puts to writing the oral law, the Jewish law of his time. And the way it's working is that it's not a list of do and don't do. Do that, don't do that. Do that, don't do that. It's not. It's cases that are being brought and that they are being debated. And there will be always somebody who will take the other side. And by that you make sure that all the aspects of the issue would be clarified. And then there is a decision by majority. And everything is being brought to you. Sometimes the decision of the majority is not that clear. But the process is very important. It's always being debated, and always, and everything is put to writing in a very sort of compact way, but it gives you everything. And it's a whole world there, because it's a work that was done throughout thousands of years, and these are the brightest minds of the Jewish people, so it's a fascinating sort of set of debates. Then, again, the time passes by. There's more issues coming to the table, technology develops, new circumstances are being created, and all these rabbis or these scholars of the time have to sort of come up with solutions based on what was given to them at the end of the 2nd century. So the work of signing up the oral Torah is called the Mishnah, and it's like, it cannot contradict the Torah. The Torah is the first 5 books with all the instructions. It's an interpretation of the Torah. It cannot contradict the Torah. So 300 years later, at the year 500, all the great minds of the Jewish people are sitting down in Tiberias, and also in Babylon, by the way, and they're compiling the Jewish law of their time, of the 5th century. The way this is done is arguments and debates around the main text, which is the Mishnah text. So they're debating what are the rabbis 300 years before them were saying, or what can we learn from this, to what is the questions in front of us right now. This is compiled together around the year 500 down in Tiberias, because this is where the Sanhedrin is now sitting, and this is as we said, the legislative and the judicial sort of body of the Jewish people. They're sitting there, they're writing it down, and this is together. The Gemara that was signed and sealed in the year 500, which is an interpretation of the Mishnah, which was signed and sealed in the year 200, is the Talmud. And the Talmud is the baseline of everything Jewish today. All the scholars, all the people, if you go to Yeshiva till today, every sort of it's the intellectual work of figuring it out, understanding it, seeing all the faces of it, because everything is like in a debate form. And it's very, very sophisticated. You dive into it, it's like an ocean. It covers everything, all aspects of life, philosophy, and it's so sort of mixed together, gossips, tales, bright sort of ideas, judgments. It's all like an ocean of knowledge and really wisdom. If you can follow it or not, it's one thing, but these are bright minds. Now the things that keep on changing, things keep on developing, and every few hundred of years there is a need to put to writing what is the sort of baseline today? What should be sort of, because not everybody could dive into this and come up with, or if we dive into it and